Hi, you guys, and welcome back to another episode of a Tailor-Made Life podcast, where every conversation is one step closer to designing the life that God has for you. I'm your host, Taylor Renee, and as always, I'm so excited to have you back here with me. Let's just get right into it. This past week, I've been exploring the relationship between fear and growth, right? So long story short, we're getting right into it today. Long story short, there was an opportunity presented to me at work. At first glance, I was kind of excited about it, a little indifferent, I was excited to just be thought about or to be brought up in the conversation, right? At first, the opportunity came and it wasn't much conversation about it, kind of faded out. And so as time went on, I got another phone call and the conversation came back up. Right? This time it came with more understanding, right? So the opportunity was explained to me a bit more in depth, right? And with that depth came the severity of the situation. Right? It felt more serious, right, this time around. It was that type of opportunity where, it makes you feel uncomfortable, right? A lot of things are on the line. Your reputation is at stake. Your team is depending on you to perform a certain way, and it was pressure, a lot of pressure attached to it. And yeah, when it first was brought up to me, I was a little indifferent about it because I did not have that depth, right? I didn't know everything that was at stake. There was no serious consequence, or there was no serious conversation about it, really. So I didn't fully understand the weight of it. And then again, as it was explained deeper, fear began to creep into my body, right? Almost like a kid, right? A kid doesn't know what they're doing when they're flipping around and whatnot. But as you get older, right, you're not as quick to flip around or whatever because you know the weight of the situation, right? And so it was the same thing here. As the conversation is happening, my mind begins to race. I'm thinking about immediately, what if I fail, right? Like, what if I go and do this and it all blows up in my face? All my insecurities, all my doubts. What if I mess this up? Like, what if I'm just simply not ready for this, right? All of these things are coming into my mind as I'm having this conversation. And I don't know about you, but when I'm really scared of something, I'll start to stutter. My hands start to sweat. Like I'm nervous. I get anxiety. I'm tripping over my words. Start saying stuff that just don't make any sense, right? Like it was one of those things where I'm like, oh my God, this could really kind of make or break the situation I have going on here, and I'm stressing about something that hasn't even happened yet, right? I'm stressing over something that hasn't even formed yet, but that's how crippling the fear was that was starting to creep into my body. Now, eventually, I went to go and pray about it. Prayed about it, and it wasn't even a correct prayer, if you will. Like I was really just having a conversation out loud with God and kind of checking my spirit, right? I was looking for some type of peace or clarity. And the thing that I noticed was my mind was fearful, right? My mind was very fearful. It was loud with fearful and crippling thoughts, right? But my spirit was at ease. My spirit felt very calm, very peaceful about what was happening or what decision, where I should go. And that within itself, it gave me some confirmation. It gave me the clarity that I was missing, because a lot of the times our bad decisions or our decisions in general, we have a knowing, right? Women call it a female intuition. There's a gut feeling. There's an intuition. There's a sense of knowing in your spirit, in your gut, right? Whether that is filled with anxiety and nervousness or peace and clarity will kind of let you know where you're supposed to go, right? And so I thought it was interesting to dive into the relationship between fear and growth, and why they are connected, right? They oftentimes work alongside each other. And, you always hear these sayings about, you got to fake it till you make it, or you got to do it while you're scared, right? And I always was like, like, why do I have to be scared of something that's supposed to grow me, right? Why do I have to fake something that until why do I have to do that? I shouldn't be scared or fearful of the thing that's supposed to be helping me, right? But in reality, growth is synonymous with unfamiliar territory, right? Greater responsibility, stretching, a discomfort, right? An uncertainty. And those are fixed variables, right? They're not going to leave. Growth is attached to all of those things that I just named. So whether or not you have fear, right? Whether or not you're scared or you're fearful of the future, right? You're always going to deal with those things. You're always going to deal with uncertainty and discomfort and greater responsibility, unfamiliar, the unknown, right? That's literally what growth is. Obviously, with those comes fear, right? The average person is going to be scared of unfamiliar territory, right? Of discomfort or uncertainty, right? I mean, I know I'm scared of those things when it comes to certain situations when you just genuinely do not know what is going to come next. You get a little frightened, right? You get a little scared when you somewhere you don't know and it's dark outside and it's unfamiliar territory, right? You're scared. You get a little, I think fear and the feeling of frightenedness is inevitable in everyday life. However, I'm not saying that fear has control over us, or that fear leads us, or that fear should deter us from what we're doing, right? But fear often appears when growth is present. So anytime there's growth, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be followed by some type of fearfulness, or healthy respect, like a reverence or a nervousness, right? Like those things are going to be synonymous. And it is because growth threatens your comfortability, right? When you think about gardening, right, and you're growing some potatoes, as those potatoes begin to sprout out of the ground, you don't think it causes tension within the soil or tension within the roots? Or when you're growing out of something, when you're growing into something, there's going to be a healthy fear, a healthy tension, a healthy restriction, if you will. And that just kind of shows that you're growing in the right direction, right? But to be honest, we like our familiar environments, right? We like to be in familiar places. We like feeling qualified. We like knowing the outcomes. We like being recognized for our strengths, right? But growth removes some of that security, and that obviously is going to create some level of fear. And I don't know, it's just really diving into that, exploring what that looks like in your life. I know for me, I was so stuck on, I don't want my fear to stop my growth, right? Like even if I am scared out of my mind, I don't want it to stop my growth, because if growth is what I've been asking for and then the opportunity comes, but I'm too scared to take the leap, who can I blame? I'll only be able to blame myself 2 years from now and I'm still in the same spot because I didn't take the growth opportunity. And I don't want that for myself, and I don't want it for you either. So it's like, we got to be careful with fear, because about all the other things that I named, this discomfort and then unfamiliar and unknown and whatever, those things aren't as dangerous as fear, right? Fear is the most dangerous because it keeps you from moving. Not only does it keep you from moving, right? If you're bound by fear, it is masked by other things. It is masked by distractions, right? And so you won't even know that you're not moving because of fear. You won't even know. You would think that it's, that it's something else, when in reality you are scared. You're fearful of what's to come. And fear shows up in a different hat every day. It shows up differently every day. It can make people avoid opportunities, right? It can make you procrastinate and shrink yourself. I know for me, I used to shrink myself all the time. Why? Because I was scared. I was fearful of perception. I was fearful of elevation and growth. I was scared of it, right? However, fear rarely shows up as you saying, "Oh, I'm just scared," you know. No, it's a little bit more complex than that, right? Sometimes it sounds like, "Oh, I don't feel like doing all that," or "I'm not ready for that," you know, or "I don't know what all comes with that, so I'm just not going to do it," or "maybe later," you know, things like that. Like it's in a mask, so we're not addressing it head on. Instead, we're masking it with other excuses, distractions. All of that is the root of fear. Fear hides behind excuses. So when you always have an excuse for something, that tells me off rip that you are scared. You're scared. You're fearful. You're being bound by the fear of the unknown. And again, it's inevitable to have those feelings, right? But what is not okay is when you're bound by it, right? When it literally cripples you to a point where you cannot make a sound decision for your growth. If I had to put a visual for it, right? I'll go back to the plant thing, right? If fear is like the weeds choking a plant that's trying to bloom. You get you planted pretty flowers, and as they start to sprout and grow, you're always looking for what? For the weeds, right? Because weeds will literally come and strangle your plant and kill it. It's the same thing fear does. It will cripple you. It will make you so small. It will fill your head up with lies and make you feel like there's no way out. There's nothing else you can do. You're not worthy. You're not deserving. You're not good enough for it. That's fear talking, right? That's fear and its lies and its excuses, all masked into one big horrible thing. The worst thing is that it convinces you that your safety is better than your purpose, right? That you being safe is more important than your calling, than moving forward, than progressing, than growing in what you're being called to do, right? We can't be crippled by fear. To sum it all up, as I was walking and praying, the confirmation wasn't that I stopped being scared. Every time I think about it, I get scared, right? The confirmation was that my spirit stayed at peace. My head goes a million miles a second, right? When I think about all the things that come along with it and what I have to do to prepare for it and whatever the case is, right? But my spirit is like calm, it's at peace, it's settled. So again, am I gonna let the fear in my mind take over my decision? Or am I gonna let the peace that rests in my spirit guide me toward my growth? And it makes me question, makes me wonder, like maybe the thing that's scaring you is connected to your next level. Maybe the thing that scares you the most is the very thing that you need to elevate and to grow to the next phase of your life. Maybe, we dived into why fear and growth is connected, because the things that come with growth are scary. So the thing that scares you the most is probably what's going to be the thing that takes you to the next level. Don't reject the opportunities because they stretch you. Right? This is where your faith and your trust in God comes in, right? And knowing that He will be the peace that guides you. He will see you and the situation through, right? Like He doesn't give us more than what we can handle, more than what we can sustain. So if He's put it in your life, if it makes you that scared, take a leap of faith. Try it out. See what He has in store. If God trusted you enough to put the opportunity in your hands, then maybe you should trust Him enough to take the leap of faith. All right? All right. That's all I have for you guys today. Full transparency, I'm recording this on a Tuesday night after a very long day of work, and I am beyond exhausted. So that's all I have for you today. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope we are able to get over our fears and explore how our fear is connected to our growth and move past it. So, yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. And thanks you again for watching. Bye.